My name is Shawn McCormick. I am a Craig graduate in San Antonio, Texas. I've got a wife and 2 kids. After a long day of skiing some hard stuff on my own, I decided to meet our friends and go ahead and ski some of the nice blue groomers, and just going a little too fast, lost my balance, and ended up in some trees. Shattered my T7, T8 vertebrae. I was taken down the mountain, airlifted to the hospital, straight into surgery. Thankfully, my wife's uncle is a neurosurgeon, just by chance, and she called him and said, listen, what do we do here? Like, what's the right next step? And he had said, Craig is where you need to go, and you'll worry about the rest later. Like, this is what you have to focus on. The first thing I wanted to do was take a shower, because I hadn't showered in 3 weeks. My wife had been giving me sponge baths. Like, I know this is possible. There's some way to take a shower. And so I showed up at Craig. I distinctly remember, like, Dr. Jones came in and said, all right, what do you need? And I said, I need to figure out how to go to the bathroom, because it's been a really tough few weeks and I need to take a shower. Like, I just desperately want to take a shower. And they said, tonight you will take a shower. No matter what, that will happen. That was like the moment where you're like, oh, like they got this. Like, I'm in the right place. One of the really cool things they do is they have a class that is led by folks who are paraplegics and quadriplegics. And they talk about bowel and bladder, sexual function, travel. So, like, each week we had a different class. And Eric came and talked about mentorship, and he was someone I could go to and ask questions, but he also knew the different folks that might have better answers for me. And you feel very isolated as, like, I'm the only one in this chair, and like Craig, you very clearly learn you're not the only one in a chair. And then the alumni that come around and share their stories, I think, have a really big impact. But Craig does a good job of laying out, like, you're gonna get there, and they introduce you and show you, like, that gives you the hope that, like, oh, this is possible. Like, I can have a real life again. You know, the first few weeks, that doesn't seem like a like, it all's overwhelming. It's hard. Like, it is hard to live with a disability, but there are a lot of tools that make that life a lot easier, but they're all very expensive. I went deep into trying to get my truck as fast as possible. And so I did my 8 hours of driving, got approved for the hand controls at Craig. It was a lot of conversations about, this is what I'm trying to accomplish, these are my goals. And then I came home, and then I spent 8 months fighting with the vocational rehab grant folks to actually get the modifications approved. They told me at the time, like, I was the fastest case that they had seen go through that process. I was advocating almost on a daily basis, where I would call and say, what is the next step? Who needs to approve? What do you need from me? Okay, I just provided that. What's the next step? Like, I was on it every single day, and they appreciated it. They're like, oh, you're on top of this. And I was like, of course. I'm like, this is important to me. Like, this is how I get back to independence. For the last 6 years, I've been working with nonprofits that provide financial support to charter schools. You know, advocacy is at the heart of that work. And when I was injured, I knew that there was this disabled community, and there's a lot of, like, advocacy and a lot of challenges that different groups and different folks are trying to improve for folks. You know, I had the moment of, like, I know how to do this. I've done this work for, 10 years now in the ed space. Am I gonna shift and do this for the disabled community? And I think a lot of it's just educating folks. Like, it really, if I go to somebody's house that's not accessible, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, I'm probably gonna have to ask for some of the dads to, like, pick me up in my chair and get me up the 3 steps to the front door. And overall, everyone is more than willing to help if you ask, or they help even when you don't ask, which is a separate issue. But I now know I can accomplish 90% of the things I could before. I have to have the patience, because it's going to take more time. I have to plan more, and it's going to be a lot more effort. And it's going to feel different. It's not going to be the same, but I can still do it. I can enjoy those things.
Go, Daddy! Look at that control!
Easing into it helps a lot. The Craig trips provide a lot of that. So getting to go hunting this week with my son, we've never hunted before. It's something that he desperately wanted to do. We had just done a gun safety course 2 months before my injury for him to shoot for the first time and learn how to hunt. And so trying to just be really cognizant of, like, all of these experiences you think about. You can get really emotional and think about, I won't ever be able to walk my dog down the aisle, but I can roll down the aisle holding her hand, there's no difference, right? And so it's those types of things where you can quickly realize all these experiences are still accessible to you. You just have to have the right mentality, and I think a peer mentor that you can build a relationship with makes that even stronger. My goal is to let people know that, like, yes, it's a little scary, but you just got to get past that. Like, you have to have goals that let you live the life that you want. You can't just kind of live in the life that you're dealt. And I always say it was kind of best case, worst case, not a thing you ever want to happen to someone, but I kind of dove headfirst into and said I just need to get as independent as possible and get back to work and get back to being a dad and a father and a husband, and Craig gave me the tools to do that.